Welcome back to another episode of 40 Facts about the 40K universe. I am your host Gershwan and you are watching One Mind Syndicate. Today we continue talking about Imperial Guard regiments with another viewer request, the Pyran Dragoons. Now if you guys have any Imperial Guard regiments that you guys would like me to create a video for, please comment down below. We've been tallying up all the different regiments that have been voted on, so just continue doing that. Don't forget to put suggestion followed by the regiment that you want us to talk about. So let's get into 40 facts about the Pyran Dragoons. The Pyran Dragoons are the elite Imperial Guard regiments that hail from the civilized world of Pyran, that is located in the Armageddon subsector of the Segmentum Solar. Considered arrogant, conceited, and proud, the Pyran Dragoons are noticeably intolerant of those who are ignorant of the nuisances of their strict caste-based society. The civilized world of Pyran has a stringent caste-based society, developed and refined over millennia after the initial imperial colonization of the planet in the 34th millennium. At the very apex of this elitist world is the ruling imperial governor, chosen directly by the Adeptus Terra from one of the leaders of the imperial greater noble houses. The people of Pyran are intrinsically bound by their traditions in a way few off-worlders comprehend, and the social and political standings of any one of the noble houses rest almost solely on the social graces of its members, as well as their military achievements within the Dragoons. Though the imperial histories often grow vague with the passage of time, the Pyran Dragoons have a keen affinity for their past deeds, particularly as they are the only regiment in the entire Armageddon subsector that is recorded as having achieved a rite of conquest. Originally founded in the 34th millennium as the Tyler Grenadiers to counter a sharp rise in Chaos Raider activity that followed up the Sinto uprising in the Justicar subsector, the regiment was transported to the recently colonized world of Pyran, as the war swept past the hive world of Armageddon. Though the Tyler regiments were battered and severely under strength due to its past engagements, the Grenadiers were successful in bringing the Chaos Raiders to combat in an ambush outside the planet's only town. The devastating trap they laid for the raiders of hidden vehicles and ranked guardsmen tore into the flanks of the raiders as they landed. Though the firing caused many losses on both sides, the Grenadiers were able to break the back of the Chaos Army, forcing them to withdraw from Imperial space entirely. The colonel of the Tyler Grenadiers declared a right of conquest on the last planet his regiment had fought upon, and his guardsmen settled on what became known as Pyran. The officers of the Pyran Dragoons are drawn from the highest ranks of the Pyran noble houses. Officially, each commissioned for officership must be earned on the field of battle, but as military service within the Dragoons grants a tremendous boom to any man's social standing, in practice, many nobles are able to simply purchase their way in. Once their commission is gained, almost all officers become very jealous of their rank and constantly vie with one another to gain the notice of their superiors. Though dueling between officers is outlawed by decree within the regiment, duels are all too common as the Pyran nobles seek to correct imagined slights, remove rivals, or simply look to discredit another rival noble house by any method possible. The regiment has gained the reputation for an extreme lack of collaboration with other Imperial Guard formations, with formal challenges to duels often being made by Pyran officers after a counterpart in another regiment has unintentionally infringed some long-standing tradition of the Dragoons. The guardsmen of the regiments are drawn from the Pyran lower houses, and despite the constant berating they receive from their officers, they are all too aware of the long and proud history of the Pyran Dragoons, and view themselves as being somewhat superior to any other regiment that treats its guardsmen as mere ground pounder. They are confident in their own sense of worth to the Imperium. Very occasionally, a Pyran guardsman, through bravery and success, will distinguish himself on the battlefield, and depending on the current standing of his noble house, may gain the attention of his commanding officers. On a whim, he may be raised above the rank of guardsman and be granted a commission to the rank of lieutenant. While this will grant a tremendous boost to his house, officers raised from common guardsmen are treated with extreme contempt by those who have purchased their rank as a consequence of their birthright, and he will be barred from many social functions that officers usually take for granted. During times of war, such a Pyran officer will even be denied access to tactical meetings and will be barely tolerated by his fellow officers. The guardsmen they lead into battle are also prone to receive their new officer poorly. Most will prefer to be led by a man from one of the greater houses, as the standing of their own officers greatly influences their own social position and prestige amongst the other Pyran guardsmen. It is not entirely unknown for these newly promoted officers to soon meet with accidents when they lead their men into combat for the first time. The most notable Pyran Dragoon is Colonel Tanley Drake, the commander of the Pyran Dragoons regiment stationed at Cerebera Base. Colonel Tanley Drake came to blows in an honored duel with the base commander, Colonel Pertinax, of the Armageddon Orc Hunters. To learn more about the Orc Hunters, please check out our Orc Hunter 40 Facts video. The Pyran Dragoons' distinctive look is based upon the elaborate uniforms worn by Great Britain's lifeguards, the senior regiments of the British Army. Just before the restoration of King Charles II to the English and Scottish thrones in the 1660s, a royal mounted bodyguard was formed in Holland from 80 royalists who had gone into exile with Charles after the Battle of Worcester in 1650. Membership was originally restricted to British gentry and nobility, and accordingly, they had non-commissioned officers. Their corporals were commissioned and ranked as lieutenants in the rest of the army. This state of affairs persisted until 1756. Now let's jump on over to a different regiment in the Imperial Guard, the Brimlock Dragoons. The Brimlock Dragoons are the regiments of the Imperial Guard that hail from the Imperial world of Brimlock. Regiments drawn from this world are known to have a preference for operating as mechanical infantry, deploying in armored fist squadrons. The civilized world of Brimlock is a world defined by heavy industry and manufacturing located in the Ultima Segmentum. This world is at a late industrial revolutionary era level of technology, with the rich living well and the millions of workers manning semi-automated production lines. Some of these workers literally are born and die there. The poorest of Brimlock's populace lives in slums known as rookeries. Some workers work on the outside of large diggeries which float over the planet's hive cities. Brimlock is the administrative and military center of its star system. The other planets of the Brimlock system are tribute worlds, which fall under the control of Brimlock's planetary governor. The tribute worlds provide materials and tithes of men to fight in the Brimlock Auxilia. One of these planets was named Margaret by the Brimlocks after they conquered it in honor of the patron imperial saint of Brimlock, Saint Margaret. Blessed Margaret is a common oath in Brimlock alongside God Emperor. The inhabitants of Margaret are commonly known as Margos. Some within the Brimlock system consider this term purely descriptive, but most use it to be mildly derogatory. The Brimlock Auxilia are troops drawn from the tribute worlds and vary in terms of troop type and combat ability. The troops drawn from Margaret are very similar to Ancient Terra's Gorkhas. To learn more about Ancient Terra, please check out our video on the Unification Wars. Instead of carrying a kukri, a Nepalese knife with an inward curved edge, used as both a tool and as a weapon, they use a heavy chopping blade that curves inward called a falcata. Margaret Auxilia are nicknamed fell cutters after this blade, and in contrast to the low opinions that most Brimlockers have of Margos, the fell cutters have a fearsome and savage reputation amongst the regular Brimlock regiments. As a highly populated planet, Brimlock is able to provide several million men to the Imperial Guard each year. These men are volunteers, driven by poverty or a sense of adventure, though Brimlock could choose to conscript men in times of crisis. These troops are organized into regiments, normally between 5 and 10,000 men each. Due to Brimlock's highly manufacturing capacity, all regiments begin as armored fist units, fully equipped with chimeras and other armored transport vehicles. Over the course of the regiment's existence, these may be destroyed or break down, leaving the regiments to go into battle on foot as regular infantrymen. While the Brimlock regiments vary their strategy to the tactical demands of the campaign, they prefer to operate from fixed, defensible bases. A typical Brimlock campaign will begin with the landing of one or more deployed outpost vehicles from orbit at a suitable location. These vehicles will then be deployed into a standard pattern fort in about a day, providing the regiments deploying from orbit with a secure headquarters and base of operations. Once that is done, they will proceed to carry out the overall campaign objectives. Brimlock provides regiments of armor, artillery, and sappers, nicknamed Beards, due to their tendency to have profound facial hair. Brimlock also provides regiments of Rough Riders, known as Horse Dragoons. These specially mounted horse cavalry squadrons can fight as regular infantry, but prefer to fight as cavalry troops. They are typically equipped with auto pistols and explosive lances. The Horse Dragoons wear gold and silver ceremonial armor that are nicknamed Tin Bellies by the regular infantry. Brimlock cavalrymen are typically highly religious and are devout followers of the doctrines of the Imperial cult. They are also highly disciplined and consider themselves an elite unit. One of the most notable Brimlock regiments was the Brimlock 17th Dragoon. The Brimlock 17th participated in the Damocles Gulf Crusade around the 750th year of the 41st millennium on the world of Silical. An armored column of 17th was ambushed and transitioned to the front lines from their landing zone by a small force of 3 Kroot Kinders of a mercenary Kroot carnivore squad. Scores of Imperial Guardsmen were killed in the opening moments of the ambush. The column was continuously attacked by the Kroot warriors until finally linked up with a detachment of Space Marines from the Scythes of the Emperor chapter. By this time, they had lost 30 Dragoons, 2 scout vehicles, and their commissar was severely wounded. Augmented by the additional Imperial forces, the Kroots withdrew, and the Scythes Astartes pursued them to enact their fierce wrath upon the Xenos. Unfortunately, they were led into a cunning trap, as the Kroot were now augmented by Tau armored vehicles, which proceeded to decimate the column. The Imperials, mortals and Astartes alike, died to a man. And those were 40 facts about the Brimlock Dragoons and the Pyran Dragoons. I hope you guys enjoyed this Imperial Guard video. Like I said, please comment down below. Let me know of any other Imperial Guard regiment that you guys would like us to create a video for. And yeah, don't forget to make that suggestion down there by commenting suggestion followed by the regiment. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and thank you guys so much for watching. I'll catch you guys tomorrow. This was Gersh1 with One Mind Syndicate, signing out.